Welcome to Networking Arizona with host Carol Blonder. You'll hear interviews with businesses located throughout the valley. Networking, it makes a difference.
If I traded it all.
So welcome to the show, everyone. As all of you know, I made it possible for everybody to talk to themselves. Well, talk to everybody out there. Who doesn't like to talk about themselves on the radio? And if you want to get yourself heard, you can get yourself heard by calling us here at 602-277-5369, and I'll get you on my show on Networking Arizona. I'm going to go in who was also a listener. She was a listener on my first guest, and she's also an author, so I'm really excited about having her on. I have with me Lilya Myers, and she's the author of a series of books. Welcome to the show. Tell everybody a little bit about yourself and what you do and about your books.
The name of the series is the Sarah Summers
Come
series.
on right into that. Go ahead.
And there are 3 books in the series. Only the first one has been released. The second one should be released before Christmas. The first in the series is called Sarai. I have, before I became an author, I wrote articles, but never a novel. And I taught school. I'm Series 7 licensed. I'm an investment advisor as well. I was a graphic artist. So I've done a lot of different things in a lot of years.
That's okay. Me too. Go ahead.
Would you like me to tell you a little bit about the book?
I would
now, or
absolutely love
what
to
would-
talk about the book.
Okay. The first book in the series, Sarai, is about a serial killer who has emerged out of the desert in Egypt. And it has the elements of every good murder mystery, deceit and lies and revenge. So it has all that in there. And also I've woven into the story the culture and the history of Egypt. I spent a year there, and I'll get into that a little bit more as we go along. But the killer perfects his killing in a country where the forensic technology is not very good.
So they can get away with it.
So he gets away with it. That's right.
Yeah.
And the police force, well, Egypt is a third world country. So he engages in a killing spree that spans continents. And it ends in the East Coast of the United States.
So who doesn't like a murder mystery? We all do. What we're going to do is we're going to open up the lines to the audience so that they can call in and get the, they're going to get entered in to win the first book of the series. And the book is called, say it again for
Sarai.
me. Sarai. And you can get this book at Amazon.com, but you can also get it here by calling in and get entered in to win. Our number here is 602-277-5369. Toll free, it's 1-866-536-1100. It's a murder mystery. I happen to love them. You gave me a copy. Thank you so much. I'm
You're
looking forward to
welcome.
reading it. So what made you pick, because you had been there for a year, so what made you pick to write a book out of, Egypt for one, and then turn it into a murder mystery?
Okay, well, I'll back up a little bit. The inspiration behind this book is my mom, and I had occasion to live in Egypt. It wasn't necessarily by choice, and I spent a year there. And why I spent a year there is another whole story. But I was a non-tourist. I lived as a non-tourist, and I lived with an Egyptian family. And it was a very difficult year. And I wrote home about 20 to 30 pages, handwritten every single day to my family. And I described the sights and the sounds and the feelings and the emotions that I had while I was there. I was kind of trapped, really. And so I spent time in Cairo, I spent time in Alexandria, and a lot of in between those two cities. So that gave me some background for the book, ultimately 30-something years later. Now, my mom, as I said, the inspiration behind it was my mom, because she saved every letter that I wrote. Now, you
Mom's
figure
here
out,
with us, too.
She is.
That's neat.
20 to 30 pages a day for almost 365 days is a lot of information. A lot of writing. And she saved all of those letters. But when we moved here to Arizona, that was the box that the movers lost. And she'd always been after me for all those years, but I was raising a child, I was working, I was going back to school, I was doing a lot of other things, and you never seem to have time to sit there and do that, work it out. And about about 2 years ago, I hurt my back. I injured my back. I also did interior decorating. And I injured my back, and I thought, well, this is God's way of telling me, okay, you're ready now. You sit down and write the book. So I sat down to start, and I thought, gee, what am I going to write about? Am I going to write about a personal journey there? Am I going to write a tourist type guide? And I thought back to one of my creative writing professors in college, and he said, just write. Just sit down and start writing. And so I did, and it evolved into, because I was always interested in murder mysteries.
Everybody loves that.
Forensics and all of that. Yeah, and also I had taken, I went and got my teacher's credentials over law school at the way back when. And so I just started writing, and it wasn't until I got to about the 13th chapter that I actually wrote the prologue for the book, and which should come first. But it seems with writing, you can go back and forth, and you want to develop the story in such a way that you don't want to give away who the killer is, and you want to develop that feeling, that hatred for the killer.
What I want to
Really.
know, because
Yeah.
I can't wait to read the book, and I happen to also love the murder mysteries. How many does he kill? We want to know how many he kills. You said that he's killing all around
Countless.
the country. Come on, let's get to talk about the book.
Countless numbers.
Wow, and he gets away with it too. Go
and
ahead.
he gets away with it. So, well, let's see. One of the things was about characters, and people have asked me, oh, well, who are some of the characters? Do you model them after people that you know? And not really. I don't take a particular person, but I've lived in a lot of different places. I've traveled extensively. So I've met a lot of people. I have a lot of friends all over. And what I do is I draw upon people's personalities, their looks, all different things about people. And I develop a character. Now, not to say that that character has all the qualities and everything of one particular person. So, especially the killer. And developing him was really difficult. And some of it's difficult to read because it
Is it explicit?
There is a part that's explicit, but I try to do it in such a way that I'm not spelling everything out word for word.
Say the name of it again so I write it.
The name of the book is Sarai.
Sarai.
It's
And
spelled.
what did you? And it must be an Egyptian name.
Well, it is.
Mhm.
And
Does it mean anything?
the second book in this series is called Sarah.
Oh,
And
okay.
yes, Sarai means Sarah.
Oh.
And when you read the second, when you get
When the
to-
second book comes
when you
out.
get to, well, no, you'll understand in the first book. You'll understand in the first book the reason for Sarah.
And there's going to be 3 of them in the book,
Mm-hmm.
into the series, I mean. And she's giving away, we want everyone to get entered into win, and we know we all love a murder mystery, and we love to cool. It's going to get cold, and everybody wants to, curl up with a nice
up a
book.
book.
If it's you or someone you know, you can go to Amazon.com or Barnes & Noble, but I've got my lines open here. We're going to get everyone entered in to win one. That's the first book of the series. Our number here is 602-277-5369. Toll free, it's 1-866-536-1100. You can check her out on her website, which is Lilya. It's Lilya Myers, MYERS.com. You also have a Facebook. You can go to facebook.com/Lilya A Books. Is that what it's called?
Lilya Books.
Lilya Books. And again, we're going to leave our lines open. We're going to go to a break. When we come back, we're going to let everybody get entered in to win. It's the first book of the series. And our number here again is 602-277-5369. Toll free, it's 1-866-536-1100. What would you want to leave with them for the moment before we come back?
I just want to mention also on Amazon, Barnes & Noble, it's on all the online retailers. It's in print, or you can get it on Kindle, you could get it on Nook, and you could get it on a lot of other e-readers, iBooks.
But get entered in to win one right here on Networking Arizona. Keep on calling. Our number here is 602-277-5369. Toll free, it's 1-866-536-1100. Get entered in to win a book. We're going to come back. We're going to talk a little bit further about him and learn more about his killing sprees. I don't know what's wrong with me today. And keep on calling at 602-277-5369. It's LilyaMyers.com. We'll be back in just a minute.
If I traded it all
So welcome back, everyone. We have our lines open here. We're talking with Lilya Myers. She's the author of a series of books. There's 3 in the series. The first one that we have here is Sarai, and I really can't wait to read it because, you have a personal story. And that's what's wonderful is that you really live this, and how you came about it is just amazing. We're going to leave our lines open here for everyone to call in and get entered in to win the first book of the series. It's Sarai. You can get it at Amazon and all the online stores, but call in here, get entered in to win. And if it's not for you, somebody, everybody knows somebody that wants to read a murder mystery.
Great Christmas gift.
And a great Christmas gift. Our number here is 602-277-5369. Toll free, it's 1-866-536-1100. You could check her out on her website, which is Lilya, Lilya. Myers is MYERS.com. You can also check her out on the Facebook. She'd love for you to do that. And that's Facebook.com/Lilya Books. And so or call in here and get entered in to win. I want to talk a little bit about the book again. I told you I would read this because I think that it's kind of a neat. This says, this is a novel of power, ambition, jealousy, and revenge. Okay, walking in those mindsets is a psychopathic killer, a master at feeding on the shortfalls of others, and who has eluded capture for decades. It is a story rich with a kaleidoscope of history and culture where the past brings meaning to the present. What does that mean? What do you mean by all of that?
Well, there's a history with some families in Egypt, and particularly one that I talk about where there are 3 sons by 3 different marriages, 3 different women, and they have quite a history themselves. And then there is another family, actually 2 families, that they become friends. And years ago, the 2 fathers did, and then their sons became friends, and one of them had a child. And she is that is Sarai. And she is the center of this series. And she will appear in all the other books. But
so she doesn't get killed. Well, we're not going to tell everybody.
Say that.
We're not going to tell. That's what's cool about it. Go ahead.
I'll just go on from there. I'm not going to say too much about that. But let's see. Where can I go from here? Oh,
so when you were writing this book, okay, you had said that one of the things that was very difficult for you because you were self-publishing, correct?
Yes.
Well, if you did this, you did a great job.
Well, thank you.
It's really an awesome job.
One of the most difficult things is in the research, because what I wanted to do is I wanted to create these characters. I wanted to put in this book enough reality, and yet it's fiction. So there's such a fine balance there. And while I was researching, I spent a lot of time looking at serial killers and reading documentaries, listening to documentaries. Some I had to turn off. I mean, they were that bad. And of the serial killers themselves, speaking about their murders and that sort of thing. I had to research on forensics. It's not, you just don't sit down. You can, but there's certain elements of a book that you want to put in to create that reality.
If it's a good book, and that's what you did.
I'll give you another example. There's a lot of different places, and as I said, I love to travel, and I traveled extensively. So I wanted to create some reality. I wanted to give the reader a sense of feeling like they're there, that they have been to that particular place. And I'll give you an example. Capri, the island of Capri, is talked about a lot in the book. And these 2 families had a house together on Capri. And so I wanted to give a visual to the readers of what this house looked like, because it helps you when you're putting things together and you're reading along. You want to have a visual of a place maybe you've never been to, or if it was a place you've been to, you want those real aspects. So what I did was I researched homes. I actually went to real estate websites for Capri and looked at homes, and then I found one that fit exactly with what I had in my mind, and then I gave those descriptions. So I did that in a lot of different places in the book, in addition to history and culture and facts that I experienced myself.
You put your heart and soul into
I
this.
sure did.
You really, really did. And I think that's really neat. You can check her out on her website. It's Lilya Myers. It's Lilya. Myers is MYERS.com. You can also Facebook her at facebook.com/Lilya Books. She'd love you to do that. We've got our lines open here. I'm going to let everyone call throughout the rest of the show for it to get entered in to win the first book of the series. When they get these books, they go in obviously this book is the first book, but you have to read them in the series. Is that sort of like a 1, 2, 3 type of thing?
Well, yes, because you want to see what happens. It's not the same serial killer necessarily.
Oh, okay.
Necessarily.
Uh-huh.
We don't know who's resurrected.
Okay,
or
so
not.
you see.
And but yeah, it's a series.
So
because
you want to
of
read them in the series.
certain
So
characters, and there's new characters introduced into the second book, into Sarai. There'll be some new characters. Some of the old characters will just kind of be in the background and maybe reappear again in the third book. So
now the book is called Sarai, and we have everyone getting entered in to win. It's a murder mystery, and our number here is 602-277-5369. Toll free, it's 1-866-536-1100. Why don't you read one of the paragraphs in the book for everybody?
lurking in the shadows, another set of eyes had been quietly and intently observing, listening with calm fascination. In place of revulsion was pleasure. In place of horror was gratification. The switch had been flipped to evil. Then evil slithered furtively into the darkness.
Wow. See, I love it when people like you read because you can really state it like it is. That was wonderful. And I'm looking forward to reading mine. Our number here again is 602-277-5369. Toll free, it's 1-866-536-1100. So what are some of the other things that you would want to talk about with the book to get it out? Because you're really excited, and you should be, and you should be very proud of yourself.
I am, and I guess working on the second one now, my mindset is there.
Right.
You know, and I'm going with the second book, not that I've forgotten about the first book. But I do want to mention that on Amazon, if you go on Amazon also, you see I've gotten mostly 5-star ratings. So that's been
Congratulations
been a great thing.
on that.
Yes. And, about the book more, what can I say? That, as I said, I don't want to give too much away. But I've tried to, as I said, the killer, he has a lot of practicing. And there's, if you like police work, there's some of that in there. On the website also, I have a little trailer, a book trailer, and I think that's kind of interesting. And you could go on the website and look at that trailer. I had it also on my Facebook page, and that gives a little bit of little tantalizing about what's in the book. And what you could expect.
So there's police work.
There's police work.
Forensic.
Mm-hmm.
There's killing.
Oh,
And there's a lot of it. There's because he's doing it across the country, so there's quite a bit. Go
No,
ahead.
I don't go into detail about every single killing because this guy did a lot of practicing.
Uh-huh.
And one of the things I did want to bring to the fore with a lot of this is, and you've heard a lot of it in the news, about female genital mutilation in other countries. And so there is some focus on that. And because of it being a third world country and that type of thing took place. But
Well, when you're with your experience in Egypt, and this is how it evolved by you being there, you said that you were stuck there. Was it a good experience then?
there were some good experiences and some not so good. As I said, it wasn't by choice. What happened actually was my passport got taken, and it being a socialist country, it just went. And even though I went through the embassy and everything, I couldn't get it back right away.
Right.
But that's, as I said, that's another story. But it's something I wouldn't trade for anything in the world, having been there and experienced those things. I think a lot of people should, because most people have no clue what it's like to live in a country like that. And I didn't live as a tourist either. I lived as a family member with a family. And I had to learn Arabic because it was a sink or swim situation. There was only a few people that around me that were able to speak some English. So I learned to speak Arabic.
Well-
and that was quite an experience too.
Well, I'll tell you something. You have done quite a bit, a lot, as a matter of fact, and you did a great job in self-publishing. And a lot of people are self-publishing right now, and the book is fantastic. I'm looking forward to really getting into it and reading it. I love the murder mysteries. We're going to let everyone call in throughout the rest of the show for it. Get entered in to win the first book of the series. It's Sarai, and our number here is 602-277-5369. Toll free, it's 1-866-536-1100. Check her out. She's got a little trailer on her website. It's Lilya, Lilya Myers, MYERS.com. Call in here. You don't need to go to Amazon. Call in here, 602-277-5369.